Hi everybody, welcome back to Arma 3, and this is of course the official World War II cDLC Spearhead 1944, but it's the update 1.1 Mortain map, which is out now, which is really fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people out there skipped Spearhead 44 when it came out last year, but what I've got to say is that you shouldn't, because it is really good, and I think especially for people who enjoy single player Arma 3 as well as sort of co-op Arma 3, it does offer some really nice gameplay, especially with this update. But what I wanted to do in this video is just take a drive through the Mortain map in this rather nice German Panther, just to give you a feel for it, because it's a bit different to the Normandy map that came with the initial release of Spearhead 1944. The Normandy map was a 2-to-1 scale, where this is a 1-to-1 scale map. So it kind of means the map feels a little bit more natural, but also it has a little bit more verticality as well. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So why Mortain, and why did Heavy Ordnance Works decide to have these two maps, Normandy and then Mortain, as their maps, and not have, say, for example, the beaches at Omaha, Utah, Seoul, Juneau or Gold? Well, what they decided to do was that D-Day had been covered comprehensively within the video game world, and in fact they do have a beaches map in a free extended mod for Spearhead 44, which I will link in the description below this video. But Spearhead, when it initially came out, concentrated on a battle called Operation Cobra, set after D-Day in 1944. And we all know about D-Day. We've seen Saving Private Ryan, and you probably know about things like the Battle of the Bulge and Operation Market Garden with a bridge too far, much further to the east. But Operation Cobra came after D-Day, and it was incredibly important because after D-Day, and all of the Allied armies had linked up, and the beachheads were linked up, and they were bringing millions of tons of supplies in, hundreds of thousands of soldiers. They then had to break out of the beachhead and, in essence, try and destroy the German army within Normandy, and then obviously they could then push, liberate the rest of France, then move on to sort of Belgium and Holland and obviously Germany, and the war with the Russians coming at it from the east. And we kind of often skip this middle bit when it comes to the commonly known history of World War II, because the fighting in Normandy was incredibly intense. I think one of the things that I heard recently on a podcast was that nowhere else in the war was there such a concentration of German panzer divisions as there was in Normandy. This was, very, very serious, with massive casualties on both sides, because the Germans knew that if they couldn't defeat the Allies in Normandy, then in effect, the war was over then, if they couldn't stop them, because of the sheer industrial might of the USA and being able to produce all these tanks and aircraft. And so what happened was, there was kind of a little bit of not really a stalemate. People say it's a stalemate, but what happened, there was a build-up of forces after D-Day by the British and the Americans. The British and the Canadians were pushing east towards Caen, but they were kind of they were slowed down a bit, because that's where the bulk of the German armour was, because the Germans didn't want, obviously, the British and Canadians to head east, because that's the quickest way to Germany. And so they had lots of armour around there. And so the Americans, the idea was to push south, and to break through the German lines, and then to be able to kind of peel around to encircle the German army. And that's Operation Cobra. So that's what came out with the initial release of Spearhead 1944. This amazing armoured thrust through the German army to in effect sort of break the German army in Normandy, and that led then to eventually, after an awful lot of hard fighting, to the destruction of most of the German army in Normandy. And trust me, that you'll hear about the fact that maybe the Germans, quite a few Germans, escaped from Normandy. But although quite a few thousand German soldiers did make it out of Normandy, the majority of their equipment got left behind. So it really was a destruction. So what happened was, after Operation Cobra was kind of successful, Hitler decided, as he would always do, to order a counterattack towards the town of Mortain, and this is where this update, this free update, comes in. So that's where this map comes in. So the Germans were pushing from the south with their armour towards Mortain, the idea being to split the American armies in two. And I guess, as with most of the things in the Second World War when it came to Hitler's decision-making process, what was to come after that, who knows, because the Germans, didn't have enough fuel or men or tanks or air cover or anything like that in order to sustain an operation like that, to push the Allies back into the sea. Just couldn't be done. And so that's what we've got. So we get this fantastic map, 8x8 kilometre map, which has got so much detail. I love the verticality. I love all the towns, because when you hear the stories about the fighting in Normandy, it talks about going from town, through the hedgerows, and then going from town to town, from hard point to hard point. So that's really good. We also get what you see here. You get the new Panther, you get the jagged Panther, you get the Stug as well, and on the American side you get some new, I think there's a new Jeep. You get the fast scout car, which the name escapes me for a second. Let me just try and remember what that one's called. It's the Greyhound. Get the fast Greyhound as well, and lots of other assets as well that you can use in creations and play in creations that people will do. But we also get some really cool game modes as well, sort of co-op and single player game modes. We get one called the Battle of St. Bartholomew, which is an awful lot of fun as well, where you're an American rocket launcher guy, so you've got like a bazooka, and you go around as the Germans are trying to attack this town. You're running from position to position, trying to take out German tanks and German troops. You get the attack on Mortain itself, kind of the central bit of this, which is part of Operation Lüttich at the beginning of August 1944, where you play as a German soldier, German officer, and you're pushing into the town to try and force the Americans out. And you've got some choices about how you want to do these, and these can be played solo or co-op as well. You get Prize Fighter, where you're zipping around in one of those American Greyhound armoured cars, which is an awful lot of fun. And you get Panzerkampfwagen, where you're actually in a German tank of your choice, kind of at the end. I think it's near the end of Operation Cobra, where you're pushing through enemy lines, just engaging the enemy as you're going along. And that one's an awful lot of fun, because you've got friendly enemy armour coming to help you as well. And again, it's PvE, and you play it solo, or you can play it with friends as well. And it's all very exciting and very, very good, very well done. It looks beautiful. I say, go to Steam. If you haven't wishlisted Spearhead 44 already, make sure you wishlist it. So maybe if you don't want to pay full price, it's not that expensive, but wait for it to go on sale and definitely pick it up, because this update is worth the price of admission by itself. You could argue that the initial release with the initial campaign, which had Operation Cobra, was good, but you really had to be playing online with other people, co-op, for it to be really, really good. Where these scenarios they've added, these showcases they've added, you can play them solo and have an awful lot of fun. And of course this map looks absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that's enough from me. Hopefully this video has been useful. All the relevant links will be in the description below this video. And of course, I'll see you again soon.